I heard about this man. He was walking on the street and he was fuming, furious, and walking, and then one of his friends saw him and said, "What's going on?" Said, "I got scammed." Said, "By who?" "By a bookstore." Can you believe it? I said, "What happened?" They said, "Well, I just bought a book that it says, 'Learn Spanish in 15 easy steps.' It's been 2 miles and I still don't speak Spanish." I do it. He doesn't. I want to talk to you today about I don't need instructions. Have you ever been to IKEA? Have you got anything there? No, seriously. Because I usually talk to people that they went through this experience, right? So they went to a store like IKEA or they bought something online, and then, you know, when you see the photo, it's something that is huge, right? And then you get the box, and it's this size, it's small. So you open it, and poof, like full of little pieces. And then you have 2 different kind of people when that happens. Number one, I don't need instructions, right? And you start building it in halfway. This is not going anywhere. So you have to try to take it apart, and then you go and finally read instructions, or you go online and you watch videos until you can figure it out how to do it. And there are other people that they know it right away, either because they went through a similar situation before, or because they have a little bit more of foresight, right? And they realize that if you don't read instructions with so many little pieces, so many pieces that actually sometimes they look the same, if you put one in the wrong place, then when you need the original one, they say, "What do I do now?" This, right? So they go to the instructions right away. I guess there is a third category that they pay somebody else to do it. But I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. And it's, and I think it kept me thinking, these 2 different approaches to the same thing. Some people will say, "I don't need instructions. I can do it myself." And then after putting a lot of time and sometimes money, because sometimes you can even ruin the thing and break apart, and then you need a replacement. And then you have the other people that they said, "You know, I don't know how to do it. I will read the manual. It will take a little bit more time, but eventually it's going to be done properly." Okay? And that's something that you could say we can learn from this week's Parsha. It's not that they have IKEA back in the day, but Rivka, our matriarch, is teaching us something very important. And I like to say this because sometimes we don't pay too much attention to the matriarchs when we read the Torah. We talk about Abraham and everything that he did, and Isaac and everything he did, and Jacob, Israel, everything he did. But the matriarchs have lots of things to teach us if you know where to look. And today we are learning something extremely important from Rivka, from Rebecca, from Isaac's wife. You know what happened? The Torah is telling us that she finally, they prayed to God and she was pregnant. Okay? And then she noticed something that she described as excessive movement inside her womb. She didn't understand what it was. She was probably in a lot of pain, feeling lots of movement, something that she defined as like it felt like somebody's fighting inside, right? And the Midrash said that she noticed that it was also very odd. That every time that she would walk by a place where they were worshiping idols, she felt this movement. Every time she went through a place where it was a group of people or a person worshiping or studying about the one God, she felt that movement. And she couldn't tolerate it anymore. And the Midrash said that she started to ask people around, "Have you ever felt anything like that?" "No, never." "Have you felt anything like that?" "No, never." So the Torah says something very interesting. It says, "Vatelech lidrosh et Adonai." That she went to inquire Hashem, to inquire God. So what does it mean? Vatelech lidrosh et Hashem. You know, the lidrosh, the same word that we use for drasha, right? When we teach something. So what does it mean that Rivka went to inquire Hashem? And then the rabbis explain that she finally went and asked the experts of the time. And she got the answer that she was looking for. The experts told her, you have twins, right? They didn't have an ultrasound back then. So how would you know if you have twins? If, number one, you have twins. And then the expert said, you have actually two very different personalities inside yourself. So brace yourself because you're going to have two very different journeys from your two sons. And she got that answer that made her feel better from the experts. She tried to figure it out by herself. She couldn't. She tried to ask regular people. She went nowhere. Eventually, she did the right thing. She went and asked the experts. And the expert got the problem solved in no time, to the point that she was now happy and content. So what is the teaching that our matriarch Rivka is teaching us? Remember these words. Lidrosh et Hashem, to inquire God, so to speak, to inquire or to learn from the experts, right? And we all have times where we don't know who to turn to or what to do or what to decide. Well, those times when we go through that, two options. You can say, well, you know what? I know better. Or you can do like Rivka, go to someone that knows better. And I remember this time where we got my father-in-law, Alav Shalom, a GPS, because he was planning a trip to Phoenix, right? So it's been a while. I said, I don't know, maybe Phoenix changed, how to move one. So they also got a GPS, but you have to test it first. So if you never drove a car with a GPS, you want to know what is it about. So let's say, okay, let's go for a test drive. And we punched an address, and the GPS would start giving him instructions. GPS, we said, 50 meters, turn right. And he didn't turn right. I said, turn right. No, that's the wrong route. I know this one better. I said, the whole idea is for you to learn how to follow instructions, Okay, let's continue. I said, in 100 meters, turn left. He didn't turn left. So why? Well, because this is a better route. Okay, the exercise is for you to learn, right? Sometimes you're going to be in a place where you don't know what to do. So you need to understand the instruction from the machine that knows better and to follow the instructions, right? Even though that was a failed experiment, eventually he understood that when, sometimes the GPS will know and a shorter route or a better one, and then you follow the instructions. But again, I realize that sometimes we have situations in our lives that the temptations to say, hey, I know it all, are big. And those are the times where we have to be very careful and to rely on the information given by the experts. Why am I saying this? Especially now, that I can see all these faces on the pews. And it's a reminder of what is going on in Israel and in the world. It's a reminder of what happened on October 7th. What happened? What was the event that changed the world and the Jewish life for what I think is going to be the rest of the 21st century. So my question is, now what? Are you going to try to understand the entire situation just by yourself? Said, I don't need to read anything. I know better. Are you going to start asking regular people who all of a sudden became experts in the Middle East by watching TikTok videos? Or are you going to ask the experts? My experience is, unfortunately, people don't ask the experts. And I'm not just talking about regular society, even Jewish people. We are offering lots of free workshops with experts. And yes, we have some people coming, but if I have to talk in percentages, is this much? What is everybody else? Where are they learning things from? I don't even want to think about that answer. Because we live in situations where the time to try to figure it out by ourselves is not right. The time to ask regular people is not right. This is the time to rely on expert opinion, people who really know what is going on. So if there is something that we learn from this week's Parsha, from Rivka, is lidrosh et Hashem, rely on the experts. So if you want to, I believe that we have to, because I know, and I've seen it, that many people get asked, what's going on? And we feel that we have to give an opinion, right? And we make it up. That's the wrong thing to do. We have to be honest to ourselves, realize we know nothing, or very little, and it's the time, lidrosh et Hashem, to rely on experts. So the good news is there are so many amazing resources put together by either Jewish Federation or different congregations that it will give you those answers. So you don't have to improvise. So my message to you is, let's all learn from Rivka, and let's take time in the next days, weeks, and months to truly learn from the experts. Shabbat Shalom.